Hello everyone, my name is Sybille. I'm super excited to be able to connect with you all here today online. I'm 16 years old and I'm a KidSpirit contributor from Haiti. I've been writing for the magazine for about a year now, and in the fall, I'm really excited to be attending the University of Toronto, where I'll be studying literature and hopefully continue to pursue writing. Today, I'm delighted to be joined by Joel Sartore, who is an award-winning photographer, speaker, author, and conservationist. Joel is also the creator of the Photo Arc, which is a really cool project that's lasted about 18 years so far. He started it in 2006, in which he's photographed over 15,000 different species to raise awareness of the extinction crisis, which is obviously something that is very important. I'm honored to be interviewing him here today to learn more about his work, and I hope people watching at home can learn a little bit more as well.
I'm Joel Sartore, the founder of National Geographic Photo Arc and Video Arc. My goal is to document every species in human care around the world. That's mammals, birds, amphibians, reptiles, fish, and invertebrates. I do this at zoos, aquariums, and wildlife sanctuaries. More than 800 locations over the past 17 years. Each and every one of these animals is amazing. All are worth saving and deserve our protection. Today we have nearly 15,000 species on board the Ark. Each is a living work of art and deserves our full attention right now, while there's still time. I'm doing everything I can to get the world to pay attention and save them all. Now, how about you?
What's your opinion on encouraging people to do that?
Well, I know it sounds harsh, but I was just in Hawaii. And Hawaii is the capital, the extinction capital of the world in terms of they're losing their native plants, their native insects. They're losing their native tree snails, land snails, which are beautiful little gems, little bitty things that are beautifully colored. And they're losing their native birds and have been for a long time. And it's because of invasive species. I don't know that they have lanternfly there, but they have lots of other species. They have a ton. They have mosquitoes. They used to never have mosquitoes. And those mosquitoes now bring avian malaria to their native birds and kill them. They have ants, 60 species of ants. They never had ants before, so ants are really hard on them. They have mongoose, little Asian mongoose, Indian mongoose that kill nesting birds and eggs. So in terms of taking care of invasive species control makes sense a lot of the times. I mean, a lot of times these animals that come in, including the lanternfly, they have an unfair advantage because they didn't evolve here and there are no natural predators of these animals. If we waited long enough, years and years and years and years, maybe not even in our lifetimes, likely not, eventually some other invasive predator of lanternfly would end up here. Because of human movement around the globe with ships and airplanes, we're really shaking up the snowball. And we're mixing all these species from all these different places. But if you look at Hawaii, they are in the midst of their kind of final extinction crisis, in that they're not sure how many native birds they'll be able to save, or snails, or plants, or insects. Most of them, the natives, are relegated to the very tops of mountaintops. So I think if you can slow down the invasion of foreign species into an area, if that's what the people of the people that run New York City are saying to do, is to kill these animals, then yeah, it's probably the thing to do. I mean, other than that, if not, then aren't those lanternflies a danger to other things that are native? I mean, it kind of depends on your value system, I guess, but I am really a big fan of trying to keep native species on the land. That is what I've devoted my life to. And so it's just really there's a predatory snail called the rosy wolf snail that's in Hawaii. And it is introduced, it's from actually the southern US, southern Florida. And it grabs onto every snail it can, it comes across, grabs onto them with these big sucker things, and sucks every snail out of its shell and eats it. And they multiply like crazy. And they're all through the South Pacific now. And they are going to doom all the other snails to extinction that are on these other islands. They just are voracious predators. And they say when you see a rosy wolf snail, kill it. Now, I haven't seen one in the wild yet, but if I saw one, I probably would, because it has the potential to literally wipe out an entire colony of native tree snails, which are critically endangered now. Some only live in a lab. So it's a tough question you ask, but if that's what biologists in that area say needs to happen in order to preserve other life forms, well, then maybe that's a good thing to kill them.
Yeah, I mean, it's really unfortunate though that they have to be collateral damage, because it kind of ties back to what we were saying. We're all just trying to get by. All of us were. It's important to kind of see things as, us all being on the same playing field, on an even playing field. And so it's unfortunate that, we're forced to do things like that. But at the same time, I understand what you're saying, and I
Right,
understand why, yeah, that's
right.
recommended.
So David Quammen, who's a great environmental writer, he wrote a short story a few years ago in Looking Forward, and he called it Planet of the Weeds. Planet of the Weeds. And what he meant by that, as I recall, is that we are headed towards a world in which the species that we live with are these kind of tramp species that follow us along. Rats, cockroaches, coyotes, foxes, uh, grackles, starlings, sparrows, these species that are really tolerant of us, but that many of the other life forms that we are used to seeing from childhood could vanish because these other species have an evolutionary advantage and they crowd out these others. Do you have just a moment? I'll give you a specific example.
Yeah, I
Um,
have to.
so there's a bird called the brown-headed cowbird, which is native to the US. And this is just a little black bird. The females are brown, the males are black, and they evolved hanging out with the bison herds. And they are a migrant species. As the bison herds moved across the Great Plains, these birds would follow them and they would eat the insects the bison kicked up. Now, the bison never stayed in any one place long enough for cowbirds to lay eggs and incubate eggs and raise chicks. So the cowbird devised an ingenious strategy. It's called a nest parasitism, meaning they lay their eggs in other birds' nests. When the mama bird gets up to go away and feed, they sneak in. The female cowbird lays an egg in her nest and goes on with the bison herd, or today just hangs out with cattle or wherever they go. They still do that. That's the only way they nest. So what happens is the cowbird egg hatches faster and the chick is bigger. The egg is bigger, but the mama bird, let's say it's a robin, doesn't know that. Well, the cowbird chick hatches early and kills all the other eggs or nestlings and pushes them out of the nest. And then the mama robin or whoever it is feeds that cowbird chick and raises it. So what's happened is we have these you ever never heard of that, right? It's amazing. So what's
No.
happened is in areas where there are very rare, beautiful warblers, for example, like the golden cheek warbler in Texas, the cowbirds are going to drive that species to extinction. I went to Fort Hood, Texas, which is a giant military base with lots of good habitat. And the only way to save the golden cheek warbler was to trap and kill the brown-headed cowbirds, which are very, very common. So they're making a choice because they've got these beautiful warblers that are critically endangered. They are federally listed. They're golden. They have a beautiful song. They have a basic right to exist too. Well, the cowbirds, which are super aggressive and have this amazing nesting strategy that no longer applies in a day when they don't migrate along with the bison, they have to go. If we have to choose. We now run the entire earth. We have to choose what kind of an earth we want. Do we want an earth that's super hot, super dry, super wet, a land of extremes? Then we just keep polluting as much as we have. Do we want to see Manhattan overrun with rats and lanternflies? Is that what we want? Well, let everything go. I believe that we make good informed decisions and try to make the best choices we can. to rein things in and keep things as good as we can for as long as we can. That's what I believe. But those decisions are based on science. They're based on intelligence. They're based on reading and believing in the experts. So that's where I come down on that.